Hi folks, I'm George Valentine. I'm the author of the Job Hunting Toolkit and the Job Hunting Hero Method. And I want to talk to you about how you are much more than you give yourself credit for. How you have more talent and more to give to the employer than you know that you have, or that's written on your application or your resume. Take a look at what I mean. I've already talked a little bit about heart. Now I'll talk a bit today about energy. Energy, from the way I'm defining it for you, is that you have the ability to work just as hard on those days when you're not feeling well, when it's raining out, when it's snowing out, or when it's sunny and warm. That you have the ability to understand your limits, but to try your best to exceed them. Because any job that ever was or ever will be has a certain level of energy that's attached to it. A certain expectation that you're going to be tough and be able to make it through to the end of the day. Whatever the end of the day is. What you need to do is go over all the things that you've done in the past, all of the work that you've done previous. Volunteering, work where you're being paid, community service that you've done, whatever it is along those lines, and show that you did more than what was expected of you. Can you show some examples of where it was that you were assigned A and B, but you did A, B, and C? You did a little bit more because you enjoyed it or because it was unexpectedly required of you. Did you have drive? Drive is something that can't be taught. It's either in you or it's not. Show that you have had some drive in you through the years. Show that you have, the best way I can put it is that person when you're going to a department store and they're bringing in the carts when it's raining and cold outside, and they're doing it, and maybe they weren't even asked to do it, but they just did it anyway. Or the waitress who cleans the table of the area of the diner that's not hers. Do you have that drive? Do you do a little bit more than what's expected of you, even without being asked? Those are the people who have drive. Those are the people that employers will stand up and take notice of. Number 3, do you know and exceed your own limits? Everybody knows when they hit the wall. Everybody knows when their body is aching or their mind is just fried and they can't make it the next step, but they do it anyway. If you could show examples of how you've done that, so that one, it shows that you're humble enough to express that you know your limits, but second of all, that you've got the drive and the energy to go that extra mile. And finally, that you are just as good on those days when you're not feeling well as days when you are. Especially, folks, when you get to lose a little bit of hair on the top, when you get to be a bit older, you understand that you have to show just as much energy, just as much focus, just as much strength on those days when you're not feeling well as days when you are. Can you show that? Prove it to your employer. Show in the interview, in the resume, in the application that you have these things. And you've got a good shot at that job. Hit that subscribe button, would you? And come on back.